welcome. Today I'm going to be doing a hamstring and calf massage for the lovely Lauren. Let's go ahead and get started. Sometimes I will go in with compressions to start, but I think I'm actually going to just go in with my oil to start. And I like to do a nice, smooth effleruage stroke up the whole leg. So because the leg is so long, if you want it to be nice and graceful, you do need a nice wide stance. And you just want to gradually start applying more oil. And I'm actually going to move Lauren's arm so that I'm not running into it. And I'm just very lightly bringing my hands down the leg so as not to lose contact. And just rocking back and forth from foot to foot. And sometimes if you're a shorter person and you're working on a really long person, sometimes just walking the hands can feel more graceful. I usually do some combination. And I'm just going to use stacked hands, and I am working on these calves a little bit and on the hamstrings, just kind of getting a better sense of what's going on. And I'm going to start to focus on these different hamstring muscles. So the hamstring muscles are pretty taut in this position. They're long, which can sometimes be harder because they can feel pretty ropey, like you're gonna slide off of the muscle. So I'll often wanna just shorten these muscles when I'm working, especially if I wanna feel confident going deeper. Just lift the leg. You can just keep this knee bent, keep these muscles a little bit shorter, or you can start to do active release. So I think I'm just gonna keep these short for now. And if these muscles are responding well, active release can be really effective. But if you feel like these hamstrings are fighting you, then you don't want to force anything. But I'm going to go ahead and start down low, and then as I lower the leg, I'm just going to introduce a little bit more tension in that muscle. Start to work a little bit deeper. This is a really great stripping technique. Really helps to smooth all this out. And just don't forget, this can be really uncomfortable. So I do like to give my client a little break. And effleruage is always a really nice, welcomed break. It just feels nice. I'm gonna do a little bit of cross fiber work. Always working at a diagonal so as not to make Lauren feel uncomfortable at all. So pointing my fingers towards the knee. You can even wrap the fingers all the way around towards the adductors, but just make sure that you're not doing anything that makes your client feel uncomfortable. Always communicate. And petrissage is also a really nice technique if you want to just offer something more soothing. And petrissage can be done in a lot of different ways. It can be more soothing or more therapeutic, depending on how you do it. But nice long strokes here. My palm's pretty flat. Just shifting from foot to foot. I'm going to go ahead and work on this IT band. This is one of my favorite ways to work on the IT band, just with a soft fist. And I am not shy about using the table if I need the support, and I'm not crowding my client. And I'm going to go ahead and work my way into these calf muscles. Sometimes if you're working on a shorter person and you know that you're doing a lot of leg work, make sure that the table's nice and low, because you're going to feel like you run out of space. You're leaning over the table too much. So I am gonna approach the whole petrissage technique a little bit differently with the calf. So it's gonna be a little bit more intentional. I'm gonna focus on really lifting the gastrocnemius and the soleus together, away from the tibia, and really just feeling for any stickiness, really lifting as much as I can, squeezing. And I'd like to take a minute to thank a few of our patrons. I'd like to thank Shane Butler, Angel, and Simone Bonetti. Thank you all very much for your support. And just keep in mind, this can get pretty tiring for the fingers, so just make sure that you're pacing yourself. Sometimes if I get tired, I'll just give myself a little break, mix up the pace a little bit. This feels really good on the inner part of that gastrocnemius. This is a great technique. And this is a nice segue into some work around that connective tissue that turns into the Achilles tendon. You can really start to feel for anything that feels just harder than it should. That's a sign that there's some scar tissue there. And before I work, I always do something for that connective tissue before I work directly on the Achilles. And I always start off very light with that tendon. It's not muscle tissue, so you don't really want to go deep, but you can be firm. And this can feel really nice as it connects to the soleus and the gastroc. And I am going to start to increase my pressure. I hit these two muscles. Starting to shift my focus to that outer portion of that gastroc, moving away from the soleus a little bit. And again, just remember that it can feel pretty intense. So it's easy to forget when you're doing deep tissue, just the level of discomfort that your client might be feeling, which is not a bad thing. Always giving my client a little break. To get that inner portion of that gastroc, you can actually use your arm in a different way. And soft fists are always a really nice technique for this area as well. Go ahead and move back to a little bit more focused petrissage, slowing it way down. Really just grabbing hold that muscle belly in there. Lifting. Just like kneading dough, very similar feeling. I like to just finish that petrissage with something that feels more relaxing. Using a flatter surface. Not really lifting at this point. Working that soft tissue. I like to just finish with a few effleruage strokes up the whole leg and widening my stance so that I don't fall short of a nice full stroke. And that is all for today. Thank you for joining us today. If you enjoyed today's video, you should check out our Patreon page where you'll find some really great content. I look forward to seeing you there.
Join us for 14 and 30-day programs, hour-long classes, and much more on our yoga app, Yoga Plus by Psyche Truth. It's free to download and features a variety of wellness content, including yoga, fitness, Pilates, guided meditations, and interviews with dozens of wellness experts.